What's the best way to pluck a chicken? It's time for Ask Dr. Maddow. Rachel Maddow is a doctor, just not that kind of doctor.
And as always, Dr. Rachel Maddow is here to answer those questions that you are just too lazy to Google yourself. So if you have a question for Dr. Rachel Maddow, please give us a call at 212-871-8173. Rachel, today's question.
Hello, Dr. Maddow. I'm hosting a party next month, which I am calling Your Parents' Cocktail Party.
Cool.
I could think of no one better than to ask you to advise me on the favorite cocktails of the 50s and 60s. Can you help?
I absolutely can help. This is my favorite kind of question ever. If I weren't a radio show host who talked about politics and news for a living, I would try to find a way to professionally bully people about what they drink. But I think if you're going to have a Your Parents' Cocktail Party, you should stick to 50s era cocktails. I consulted one of my most prized possessions, which is my 1953 edition of the Esquire Guide for Hosts. In the 1953 Esquire Guide for Hosts, in the section on cocktails, they give lots of recipes for lots of different cocktails. They have, cocktails for girls, cocktails for guys, cocktails for wine drinkers, cocktails for scotch lovers. They break all these things down. But the preface, essentially, to their section on cocktail recipes is about the standards, the things that are they consider to be the standard basic cocktails of the era. And they essentially name 6 basics: the Manhattan, the Martini, the Old Fashioned, the Stinger, the daiquiri, and the champagne cocktail. I enjoy all of these drinks very much because my palate was apparently formed in the 50s. I'm happy to tell you my means of making any of these drinks: the Martini, the Manhattan, the Old Fashioned, the Stinger, the daiquiri, the champagne cocktail. First thing you need to know is that classic cocktails are small, 2.5 or 3 ounces. If you have a 10-ounce martini glass, that's for goldfish. You're going for very small, very cold, like 3-ounce burst of yum here. When you make your lemon twist, as always, as we say, use a paring knife or a vegetable peeler to pull off a big but thin swath of lemon and spritz it a little bit when you drop it into the glass. And with both the Martini and the Manhattan, if you make these the old school way, the way I do, that means that you're not afraid of vermouth. Buy the small bottles of vermouth and keep them in your fridge because vermouth goes bad. In terms of what rum to use, white rum is traditional in a daiquiri. White Bacardi rum is disgusting, so don't use that. But any other white rum is fine. In any case, just don't use white Bacardi. This is my quick chance to do the Martini and the Manhattan. With the Martini, it's 2 ounces of gin, an ounce of dry vermouth, a dash of orange bitters. You stir that with a bunch of ice, strain it into a martini glass, and add a twist of lemon. With the Manhattan, you want 2 ounces of bourbon or rye, or if you're in the Midwest, maybe brandy, although I don't really understand that. 2 ounces of bourbon or rye, an ounce of sweet vermouth, and then a lot of Angostura bitters. I use about 5 or 6 dashes of bitters in my Manhattan. With that, you stir. You don't need to shake. You stir it up and strain it into a martini glass. Some people like a cherry in their Manhattan. I think that takes up room that booze could be in. The champagne cocktail. To make a champagne cocktail, a classic champagne cocktail, take a dry champagne flute, one that has been washed very well and dried. Drop in a sugar cube. I use raw sugar, although you could use normal white sugar. Soak the sugar cube with Angostura bitters. Angostura bitters are the standard bitters you can get in any grocery store. Even if your grocery store doesn't sell liquor, they'll sell Angostura bitters. And about 3 dashes is appropriate, but you want to soak the cube. And then top up the glass with cold champagne. That's it. The old-fashioned is kind of the original cocktail. Here's how you make the old-fashioned. Half teaspoon of sugar, or a small sugar cube, in the bottom of an old-fashioned glass, which is a sturdy glass. Tiny little splash of water, or seltzer, or ideally club soda. Tiny little splash on top of that sugar, and then 2 or 3 dashes of Angostura bitters. That's all in the bottom of the glass. Crush it with a muddler. Smush the resulting syrup around the glass. Add as big as an ice cube as you can. You want a big solid ice cube that will melt slowly. Then add 2 ounces of rye or a nice spicy bourbon, like a Wild Turkey or something. Stir it and put a lemon twist on top. But here's how you make an actual daiquiri. First, make the simple syrup, which is just equal volume of sugar and water. Put it in a water bottle with a twist top and shake till the sugar's dissolved. Get out a cocktail shaker, add 1.5 ounces of rum, 3/4 of an ounce of fresh squeezed lime juice, and some simple syrup. I don't like my drink sweet, so I only use 1/2 ounce. My girlfriend Susan likes 3/4 of an ounce. Then you add a ton of ice to your shaker. You shake, strain into a cocktail glass, and voila. The Stinger. The Stinger is the one that is most lost to history of these 6 classic 1950s era cocktails. And it sounds gross. 2 ounces of brandy. I actually use cognac, but cognac or brandy. 1/2 ounce of creme de menthe, the clear kind. For example, the one that I use is Marie Brizard. Put it in your cocktail shaker and shake the living daylights out of it. You want this drink to be really cold. I actually serve it over crushed ice, over ice cubes, but you can serve it neat. And that's it. That's the Stinger. The Rachel Maddow Show here on Air America Radio, your full-service talk radio station.